What is it like to ride the high? Cannabis affects everyone differently, but there are some common stages of being high that most users experience. Let's take a quick trip through the various levels of getting high on weed. From giggles and munchies to deep relaxation and mind-bending thoughts, level 1 is often called toasted. At this mild stage, cannabis can produce a relaxed, euphoric feeling, sometimes described as a body high. Your perception may feel slightly altered, with colors appearing brighter and your senses more vivid. Giggles and fits of laughter are common side effects as your mood is lifted. Scientifically, this happens because THC, the main psychoactive compound in cannabis, binds to special receptors in the brain. These receptors influence pleasure, memory, thinking, and coordination. The resulting chemical release, well, that is what's causing you to feel relaxed, which some users enjoy. For certain medical conditions, this level of cannabis use may provide benefits like mild pain relief, reduced nausea, or stimulated appetite. Some patients report it helps relieve symptoms of conditions like epilepsy and many other diseases. However, more research is still needed on its medical efficacy. Level 2 is called baked, and things are really starting to heat up. At this stage, you're officially high and feeling the more potent mind-altering effects of THC. As that psychoactive compound builds up in your brain, it can cause some pretty tippy sensations. You may start seeing halos around lights or perceiving weird patterns and faces in random textures and objects. Your thoughts are bound to feel scattered too, with unrelated ideas popping in and out as you struggle to maintain focus. One minute, you're engrossed in some deep conversation. The next, you're cracking up literally nothing as the uncontrollable giggles kick in hard. From a scientific perspective, THC disrupts the normal information pathways in your brain. It heightens your awareness and sensitivity to certain stimuli while impairing the cognitive abilities that normally allow you to rationally integrate and process that sensory information. For some users, the heightened sensations and altered perception could make music, art, or even simple activities seem more vivid and enjoyable. Some report feeling more creative, philosophical, or in tune with their surroundings. Additionally, the antidepressant and anti-anxiety effects from the chemical disruptions in the brain may temporarily relieve symptoms for those dealing with mental health issues like depression or PTSD. The mood-boosting properties are also a reason some people use cannabis recreationally to relax and unwind. While this trippy mindset might seem funny or even pleasurable at the moment, regularly putting yourself in such a cognitively compromised state reduces your control and awareness. No matter how functional you think you are, being baked makes you a potential danger to yourself and others. Level 3 is what they call roasted. At this stage, the strong effects of cannabis are really kicking in hard and messing with your mind in some pretty wild ways. It's like all those little thought voices inside your head that normally just whisper to you get blasted up to full volume, instead of just gently flowing through your mind. Every random idea, observation, or fragmented thought gets loudly broadcasted directly into your consciousness without any filter. For some people, this increased awareness of their inner thought patterns can actually be kind of an interesting experience. They feel like they can explore deep psychological ideas more vividly or tap into a childlike creative mindset without their usual mental restrictions. The loss of strictly logical, linear thinking opens up different perspectives. But here's the catch. Trying to actually put those jumbled, roaring mental shouts into an organized flow of thoughts is not that easy. You'll find yourself stumbling over words, losing your train of thoughts constantly, and just having a really hard time expressing yourself clearly at all. And that's because, scientifically, the THC is actually overloading and impairing important neural pathways in your brain that control core cognitive abilities like memory, concentration, speed skills, and executing control over your thoughts and actions. Sounds spooky, right? Now, some roasted people think they're still functioning just fine at this level. Their reaction times slow way down, their decision making goes out of the window, and their perception of reality gets totally distorted in ways that put them in serious risk of making unsafe choices. So be careful at this point. That's why safety experts strongly warn about the dangers of driving or operating any machinery when roasted. So while the roasted mindset might seem trippy at the moment, it's actually putting you in a potentially risky mental state that reduces your control and awareness significantly. Next up is level 4, sauteed. And at this stage, things are getting seriously fried. Forming complete sentences becomes pretty much impossible as the intense high totally scrambles your ability to speak. Trying to spit out even a single word requires a lot of focus and concentration, like you're attempting to solve a puzzle. The simple act of sounding out water suddenly becomes a total ordeal. Your powers of perception and attention also take a huge hit. You might put something in the microwave to hear it, then find yourself zoning out for the entire cooking time. lost as you blankly stare at the rotating turntable and flashing lights. In this state, you may even have profound revelations about microwaves. Like, whoa, they should totally invent a special midnight stoner mode for this. Now, what's happening here scientifically is the excessive THC flooding your brain is drastically turning off the neural network involved in speech, comprehension, and the ability to concentrate or flow basic trains of thoughts. For some users, this sense of being utterly zinged and mentally checked out provides a hilarious respite from the stresses of normal existence. Without the pressure to channel your thoughts constructively, you can simply embrace the nonsensical, blissed out feel. However, the level of impairment at this stage is no laughing matter. In such an adult mindset, your judgment and decision-making abilities are severely impacted to the point of putting yourself at risk of making potentially regrettable choices you can't think through. The bottom line is, when you're utterly sautéed, you lack the mental capacity to safely respond to the world around you in any meaningful way. The potential for harm is very real, despite how amusing the experience may seem at the moment. Level 5 is known as Tony Baloneyed, and at this point, the high has reached a level where paranoia and overthinking can really start messing with your head in some weird ways. Suppose you're kicking it with a group. In that case, you may suddenly feel incredibly self-conscious, avoiding eye contact because you become convinced your friends are secretly judging you or even stealing pieces of your very soul with their glances. Heavy stuff. Your thoughts turn hyper-analytical as you start scrutinizing every minor action and inner monologue. You become trapped in your own head with all the overthinking. This extends to full-blown existential crisis mode as you can start questioning the very nature of your existence and consciousness. What's happening here is that the cannabis flood of THC profoundly disrupts the normal neural pathways involved in rational thinking, perception, and reality testing. It scrambles your brain's ability to put things in the context and perspective. For some users, the sense of mental awakening and feeling hyper-aware of their inner consciousness can be an interesting, even spiritual experience that makes them feel more in tune with their psyche. Paranoia is just seen as an occupational hazard when exploring these deeper headspaces. However, most mental health experts warn that regularly inducing this type of irrationality and detachment from reality can be psychologically horrible and potentially trigger panic attacks. It's a risky head game to play. Moderation is key if you choose to indulge at all. On to the next level, level 6, the Kush coma. Kush coma is a stage where things get serious. At this point, you might feel your heart racing as if it's about to leap out of your chest. This can be alarming and is often due to THC overload, which affects your cardiovascular system, increasing heart rate and sometimes causing palpitations. Weight paralysis, where you feel stuck or frozen, is common. This happens because THC can alter motor control and coordination, making it hard to move. Imagine a friend throwing a party. After smoking a bit more than usual, he decides to take a few extra hits. Instead of returning to the party, he ends up stuck on a park bench for hours, unable to move. This freeze happens because THC affects the brain's basal ganglia and cerebellum, regions responsible for movement and coordination. Last level is level 7, Zooted. Reaching Zooted is like entering the final frontier. You might feel like a wizard with telepathic abilities, but what's really happening is that your brain's communication systems are overwhelmed. THC binds to receptors in the brain, disrupting normal neuron communication and leading to sensations that can feel almost surreal. Your vision might start experiencing frame rate drops, similar to an overheating graphics card in a computer. This is due to the impact of THC on the visual cortex, which can distort perception and slow down the processing of visual information. Eating becomes a profound experience. Every bite, like a pizza roll, feels like magnified because THC increases the release of dopamine, the pleasure neurotransmitter. This makes even the simplest activities seem extra pleasurable but also bizarrely intense. You'll be way past the point of couch lock, where you're so relaxed you can't move. This happens because THC affects the limbic system, which controls emotions and behavior, making you feel deeply relaxed and often unable to muster the energy to move. Well, how exciting was this journey through the video? Hit the like button and let us know if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time.